This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin.
And welcome to the Gold Plus Roundup.
Indeed.
This, like every other month, we review every single Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus game and tell you what's worth your time.
Because a lot of times, download them and forget them. That's what we used to do.
Yep.
So we want to tell you which games are worth playing, which games are worth your time, because honestly, it's more about time than money now.
It is.
And so even if they're throwing free games at you, sometimes it's not really worth it. We're going to tell you which ones you don't even have to download.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you which ones to download and check out sometime on a rainy day. And we're going to tell you which ones you absolutely need to play.
Exactly.
This month, though, is kind of a mixed bag. I feel like this is the month of almost.
Yes.
There were a lot of games that had potential. Mm-hmm. We're going to go ahead and start on the PS3 with Call of Juarez Bound in Blood. This game had a lot of really great ideas. The story was fantastic. It's a story of two brothers. The first scene in the game is at the tail end of the Civil War during Sherman's March. For those of you who don't know, I'm like a big historical. I love reading about wars. It's a really interesting look into the psyche of humans and the way that humanity works on that level. And so it starts out, you're playing with one of two brothers who are both fighting on the southern side of the Civil War. And you get to meet a couple of characters, your general and then your commanding officer, both of whom play in later. And this game almost works. It does have a lot of great things. Like I said, the story is really good. It looks surprisingly good for a last generation game.
For a last generation, it does.
Because like you can go and you can look and see the cutscenes, and the game itself looks like that.
Yeah.
Like the cutscenes are made in engine. There were a couple of hiccups that I just did not understand. Like the dialogue for whichever brother I was controlling sounded like I was coming from a barrel far away. It was kind of echoey and like way quieter than all the other dialogue.
That's just sad.
Yeah. They had a cover mechanic, but this was released before Gears of War, who nails cover-based shooting. And so like you run up to a barrel, but if you're too close to the barrel, then you'll just get shot in the face. Or like when you duck down, you come up to the barrel and he sets. Then you have to look up at the sky to get all the way into cover. The moment you start to come out and look for targets, you're getting shot. And so like the cover-based mechanic, great idea, doesn't quite work. I did really enjoy the historical aspects of it. Barnes or Barnsby, whichever. I actually looked him up, and he was actually at the Battle of Antietam.
Okay.
And he's in charge, and obviously some of the things that happen are not historically accurate. But they pulled a couple of characters who I could see going into this role.
Yeah.
Like I said, the story is really good. The ending is surprisingly emotional. I liked that. So yeah, this is one that's. I would recommend watching the cutscenes, to be honest.
You kind of glean the story out of that, and you don't have to worry about the mechanics for the gunplay.
Yeah,
for dueling.
For dueling was the best part of the whole game. There's like 5 or 6 duels throughout the game, and what it is your left stick controls the camera and your positioning. So you're like making sure that you can still see him, and then your right stick controls your hand, and you can't get too close to your gun. You have to wait for the bell to go off, and if you let it go, then your hand will just kind of drift up here, and you need to be close to it because you got to pull and, I mean, you're firing from the hip, And so you have to, as soon as it happens, you have to jerk down until you see the gun start to come up, and then you raise it, and it is really split second.
You're actually touching the gun.
After you, as soon as you hit down, then your character's hand goes next to the gun, and then once you see it start to draw out, then you can push up and start to aim.
Okay.
And it works really well. I wish there were more duels, or if there was like a duel,
like mini game.
That would have been fun. But that was a mechanic I've not really seen, because shootouts, they're cool, but unless you have like the arcade, like I don't know if you ever played the arcade game where you actually had a dueling.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And this was really good like that. So some areas it worked, some areas it didn't. So Tron Evolution, how did that one work?
Tron Evolution was mediocre third-person platformy, and I think the worst part about it was they were trying to build up a universe for Tron, and the best part of Tron is that we don't know a lot about what is going on inside of the machines, and then you glean a little bit of it, and that's what makes it better. It to me, story-wise, it just fell flat, and the mechanics were just mediocre. I would hard pass on this. You don't even worry about downloading it. It just was not worth it, and I feel really bad because I actually liked the new Tron movie, and this was the tie-in to that. And like a lot of movie tie-ins, it just completely falls flat. I would have rather waited until, say, now, and gotten a decent Tron game. So I'd say hard pass on this. The jumping and the platforming just sucks, and just don't worry about it. It should have just been a racing game the entire time.
We'll go ahead and take out the other hard pass, which is Prince of Persia Revelations, which came out for Vita. Which, okay, I don't do this, and I deliberately avoid doing this. However, this time I looked up the reviews because I was like, how did this game even come out? Because like one of the first bosses that you fight is this girl, and she's got two swords, like massive, really awesome swords. And the mechanics, like sometimes I could get her into a combo and I could hit her 4 times and knock her down. Other times during that same combo, she would come back, impale me, and stick me up in the air, and then knock me off like a shish kebab with the other one. And so the only way that I was able to beat her is I was able to, like, if you get her over next to a wall, you can jump off the wall, go way up over her, and then slash her from behind, which worked sometimes. But sometimes she will turn around and again, like that was a move that she seemed to be able to pull out at any time, and it takes off 1/3 of your life bar.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so
and I'm a Prince of Persia fan, so like Sands of Time, and
you've heard us talk about how wonderful Prince of Persia games are. I really, really enjoy them. And so I was genuinely confused by this game because I'm like, I know you can do better than this. What happened here? So it's an iOS. Okay. The development cycle is cell phone game. Then iOS game. Like I don't remember. Like what were the Razors? I think it came out on a Razor first, then an iPhone, then Xbox, then PS2, then PS Vita, and the Metacritic on that goes from like a I think it was like a 9 on the original game was a 9, and then it goes to like 8.5, 8.3, 8.7, and by the time it gets to Vita, it's like a 5 or a 6, and so I'm not entirely sure what happened on this game, but if you have a Razor, maybe play it on that. So I was really disappointed with this game, and just whole lot of notebook.
What'd you think of Fat Princess?
Fat Princess is really fun. I have no idea how to play that game. Like I had a blast. Because okay, so it's you're not controlling Fat Princess. You're rescuing Fat Princess, and so there's like a pink one and a blue one, and you're trying to rescue your princess while feeding the princess that you have cake, so she's harder to carry from your opponent while she's getting. Yeah, there's a lot of other issues I had with this game, but I think that the main thing that explains how off the mechanics are, like I said, it's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I have 2 5-year-old girls, and I let them play it, and they did as well in score and in progress as I did.
No offense to 5-year-olds, no against 2-year-olds, but no, that should not be.
Yeah,
That
and
should not be at
so
all.
like the actual game mechanics are you are part of a 10-person team going up against another 10-person team, and you have this little base building mechanic going on over here, and you can be like a priest or a warrior or a ranger or a wizard or a worker.
Okay.
And each of those has different aspects that they're especially good at, and
Okay.
they have different attacks and everything. And whenever a character dies in the field, they drop their hat, and you can pick up that hat, put it on, and
become
switch
that.
to that class,
Okay.
which was really fun.
That's interesting. That's an interesting.
And like the worker is super great at carrying stuff, and you can run around
But
and
that's
upgrade.
the only way you can toggle between the different different people.
Right, but and you can switch at your base.
At your base,
Like
yeah.
and so like you can switch, and you can at any given time you can be doing something else, and you can.
That's cool.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get the multiplayer to work online, which I think might have made it a lot better, because then I could see what other people were doing and could kind of form a strategy around that.
Yeah.
But I've got 9 NPC characters all running around being dumb,
Yeah.
like NPCs do. The wizard though, if you do his AOE attack, then he sets everybody, all of the enemy people on fire, and they have to jump into water to douse it or die. And if you sit, like if you just stay still for a minute, then your character just plops down on the ground and regens health. So like it's
I
a
like
cute
that. I like
it's a
that
cute
attitude,
game. It's fun. I don't know how you could ever possibly beat it, because I was not able to figure out any strategy that worked. I tried a bunch of different stuff, but so
unfortunate.
yeah. So if you have little people, and Nora loved feeding the princess cake. That was her favorite thing,
I bet.
and so she would just run back and forth, go out into the forest and harvest cake, like you do, and then go back and feed it to the princess. And they broke into the castle a couple of times, and they couldn't carry her very far, and so she just kept feeding her cake, and she couldn't lose. And then eventually her guys went over to the other side, picked up the other princess, and brought her back, and she won.
Because she's just worried about feeding the cake.
Yeah. Apparently that's a viable.
Apparently that's a solution. Jeez, yeah, that's just.
So
That's
yeah, it's
lame.
the mechanics. The mechanics didn't really work.
Yeah.
But it is a fun, weird, and cute game that's worth looking at and going, huh, somebody made this.
Speaking of somebody made it, we got Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Now, I didn't completely trash the game itself. I just talked about how this just was in bargain bins so often. I don't think that it was in bargain bins for the gameplay. The gameplay is good. It's fun. I wish I'd played this multiplayer. I'm sure it would have been better that way. But it's a fun game that I think that I guess a lot of people, because of the Tom Clancy, I don't know if it's the amount of games that come out with his name on it, or if it's the environment that it was released in. It did not deserve to be in bargain bins for as long as it's been in there. Unlike like Rise, what's it called, Son of Rome, or whatever it's called. Like that deserves to be in bargain bins. This game was fun. It's not great. There's a lot of games nowadays that I'd rather play instead of this. It made me want to play, some squad-based stuff, or maybe Destiny. And whenever you play a game and it makes you want to play another game, kind of failing in that aspect. That was the biggest drawback of it, and some of it's due to age, some of it's just due to the setup of the game. But the entire time that I played the game, I just wanted to play other games, and that's just never good. I mean, if you're a fan of these type of games, play it though. It's fun. It's fun. You'll enjoy it.
I've also heard a lot of people reference this as one of the great single player stories because of Tom Clancy games tend to like this was still kind of in the era when Tom Clancy games were the big competitor with
Call of Duty and all that.
And so the Rainbow Six, the Tom Clancy games tend to have a lot more varied gameplay mechanics.
Yes.
Because Call of Duty does shooting, and it does shooting great.
Yes.
And
Rainbow
then
Six, it's repelling and breaking in walls, and there's a lot of different things to it that make it more interesting and make it a little bit more dynamic. The story is a lot better than a lot of other games. I didn't get really far in it, but I could tell it's a longer campaign than like the last Call of Duty game. So yeah, because I beat the last
most are.
Yeah, if you can beat it in an evening, if you can come home from work, eat, and beat the game, the single player campaign, it's short. So this one is a little bit longer than that. So I'd say pick it up, try it out if that's your thing. If you like shooters, try it out.
Okay.
Let us know what you think.
Next up, we have Furi on PS4, which is a boss rush by people who really liked Ascension of Metatron.
Yeah.
Because and I wish there were. I know that was a bad game, but I still loved it. El Shaddai, one of the weirdest games I've ever played, where Satan's on the phone to God and he's wearing jeans. that game is so weird. This game has a very similar like art style, and you start off as a prisoner, and you're going up against I don't remember what the shifting the shifting mask face thing.
And they kept referring to the first one's the jailer.
Yeah.
And then my biggest problem with the game was it's trying to be a twin stick shooter, also a slashy combo game, but you can't choose which one to do.
Yeah.
You are put in a scenario, and depending on what the boss is doing, you have to do something. Right. So if the boss starts shooting ranged, and you want to go in and melee them, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to go ranged, and then when they do their AoE pattern attacks, you have to deal with those and dodge them accordingly, and you have to wait for your opening of the opening that they want you to do.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with it. It's repetitive, but also that these are the guys that did the Afro Samurai games. So the art style isn't bad. But you are also thrown into the game, and you're given generic, you're in jail, stay in jail, and the story didn't even hook me. So if you can't hook me with the story, and your mechanics are forcing me to play how you want me to play, it doesn't make me continue to want to play.
My biggest issue was the inconsistency on how the dodge works, because if they're doing melee and you're dodging, you dodge right as the attack is about to hit, and you succeed, and then you're behind them, and then you slash. But if they're doing the ranged attack, whenever they're doing the wave thing, you have to be halfway into your dodge before you actually hit the thing, because I'm used to dodging.
Yeah.
Dark Souls, that's what I do. Yeah. I don't use shields, and I just go around
dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. Yeah.
And die.
Yes, and die.
And die. So that was one of the things was inconsistency in the mechanics themselves. Yeah. Because if I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna focus and I'm going to learn your mechanics, those mechanics need to be consistent throughout.
Yeah.
So if I dodge at the last possible second for melee, and then I have to dodge earlier than the ranged thing that's coming at, no, I need to have my Dark Souls players know what I'm talking about. My iframes.
Yep.
That needs to be my stat, not the boss's stat.
Agreed.
So it's an interesting concept, but because of the way that the mechanics work, it didn't work for me, and it seems like it didn't work for you either.
It didn't work for me either. I immediately, I think I texted you about this, and I said, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. I get what they were trying to do. I just don't like it. And if a game is done well, then I can appreciate, no matter what the style is, I can still appreciate it. speaking of that, Tumblestone. I'm not a huge. I mean, I don't mind puzzle games, but I'm not a huge. I don't sit and play like Candy Crush or other puzzle games for extended periods of time.
Because nobody has topped Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine since it came out.
I was gonna say that and obviously Tetris and everything, but that and Dr. Mario. There's a lot of really cool puzzle games. So this is a pick 3 puzzle game. I don't remember the exact one. You match 3 and that deletes the 3 as long as you've matched it.
Cascades. And
yeah, it cascades. Yeah. If you're playing in the single player and you miss, and you accidentally select one that's not one of the 3, you lose.
Oh.
If you're playing,
that escalated quickly.
If you're playing multiplayer, you can play against people.
Okay.
And if that happens and you accidentally select yellow, yellow, blue, it cascades.
Ooh.
So it's like, okay, that's cool. But if you're playing single player, it's more. It's not like single player Tetris where you can kind of zone out and just kind of do your thing. You make a mistake, it's over.
You lose.
You lose.
You suck.
Thank you.
Die.
And I don't like that because it doesn't give you multiple. Obviously, there are multiple solutions, but it's
one of the most fun things about Tetris is if you mess up, coming back from that. Like one of the things that they have. I only like playing Tetris games where you have the option to have like X number of rows that are already filled in badly, and you're working, and I like to try to work down to the bottom.
Yeah.
I enjoy that mechanic because I'm tackling this a little bit differently, and I'm having to think
and you're also
more than just setting
your own
myself
stuff.
up.
You're not cleaning up your messes, you're cleaning up the mess that's already there.
So I beat that mess.
You beat that mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I mean it's a decent game. It's not amazing, but if you do enjoy puzzle games, you will like it. In my opinion, I think the multiplayer is where it's at. If you can do that, I wish that the single players. I wanted this to be like a Hitman Go that I've been playing a lot of the Go games, other than Pokemon Go. Hitman Go, where if I mess up, I might be able to figure a way out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want a game to tell me I've screwed up beyond my limits. I want to either decide that on my own or just go, oh crap, I messed up and now I'm dead.
Right.
That's what I want. If I'm playing Hitman Go, there are situations where I'm like, okay, there's no solution out of this.
Yeah.
I will concede.
Restart.
Do the same thing in Hearthstone. I'll go, yep, there's no way out of it. I'll concede. I want to make that decision. If it's like if you were playing a game of chess against the computer, and 4 moves in, it just says game over, and you go, well, why? I wanted to. But I can like no, mathematically you can't beat it. I don't care. I want to make that decision.
Right, and I want to be able to. There is a sense of accomplishment at having played well, and like if you make a mistake and then you come back to a stalemate, or you're able to redirect it.
Yes.
You can learn from your mistakes.
From the mistake and from the interaction.
If the mistake is just you lose, then
so
I can see how that would be a really
there's a lot of cool puzzles with the single player, but I'd say go multiplayer is where it's at with that. The single player, just concentrate on. If you like puzzle games, just make sure it has your attention.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Oreshika Tainted Bloodlines was out this month on PS Vita, and this is the most Japanese game I've played in a while. So your family is cursed by the antagonist. I don't remember his name. I couldn't pronounce most of the names. This was
sure.
They translated the sentences. All the names of the enemies are like this long, and it's you need to go fight 12 Timurhoishimans.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Tories. I will go find 12 Tories. Yeah, and like your main helper is an anthropomorphic weasel who's super smart and understands the game mechanics really well.
Okay.
And your family is cursed to live a maximum of 2 years, but they're born adults. and after 6 months, they can start to mingle and intermarry and stuff, and they're already adults and everything, and like you build up your town, and the Shin, whatever his name is, the antagonist who's the one who initially cursed my family, he's throwing festivals.
Okay.
And it's called the Festival of the Fallen.
Okay.
And it's a demon festival. But apparently the point of the festivals is that these festivals aren't just for demons. They used to be just for demons and held in the heavens. He's bringing them down to Earth so that humans can enjoy them as well. Yes. And he sets up combat there. And you can intermarry with other groups, and you build your little town so you can buy more things, and you select gods with whom to mate for X amount of devote. This game was so weird and fun. I had a blast. The combat is ridiculously easy until you finish the second festival.
Yeah.
Then it gets really, really hard.
Really?
And
was it because the first time they were just kind of setting it up and showing you how to do it? And then...
No, this is like 4 hours in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of a strange curve.
Yeah. But I was like, there's sometimes when you want to kill all the enemies, sometimes when you just want to kill the boss enemy, because if you kill the boss enemy out of this group of like 8, then you win the battle.
Okay.
And he's got all the loot. The other characters have the experience. Like, there's all these weird systems intermingling
really
and playing,
yeah.
and like, I'm making a lot of decisions based on specific things,
Yeah.
and I'm going for items, and like, if you come up behind them, then and it's got the combat. There's no random battles. You will see characters wandering around, and you have to encounter them.
Okay.
Or you can dodge them and go for whatever mission you're trying to do. I could continue on all these weird things that are happening within the game. I really had a good time with it. They didn't give me quite enough information because, like I was saying, when you're matching up with the gods, you're basically trying to build a strong lineage and bloodline.
Okay.
But I don't know or understand the properties of the gods that I'm mating with. So, like, my weasel will tell me, so it would now be a good time for this person to mate, because after they mate, then they can train their child and like pass on heirlooms and skills and all that kind of stuff. And that's an important thing. And like you establish like kind of a main leader line.
Lineage.
Yeah. Dynasty, except everybody's in the family.
Weird.
So except for the mercenaries, obviously.
Obviously, of course. I'm gonna like.
So yeah,
with that.
this will make no sense until you've played the game, but I encourage you to play it because it is very strange and fun.
Seems like you got a lot of gameplay out of it as well. A lot of these, we dive in as much as we can, and
we get a sense
for you guys,
get a sense for the game, and we figure out whether it's something that's worth going through.
Yeah.
Because
you can tell
we're
an
not,
hour in. You can tell an hour or two into a game.
Well, I'm not gonna, and I will try to go until I feel like I understand the game, and then try to look at the end game. If the end game is substantially different from what you're playing at the beginning, I will try to go all the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a very entertaining and obtuse game.
Yeah.
And I wish I had a little bit more information, but if you follow the Weasel's advice, you'll be okay.
Yes, follow the weasel.
So, Banner Saga 2.
So Banner Saga 2, similar to Tumblestone, if you like what it's doing, if you like these kind of games already, you're going to like this.
It's like a turn-based strategy grid thing, right?
Yes, it is turn-based strategy. If you've played any tabletop RPGs, it's basically like a tabletop RPG.
I love
because
this.
you go through, so you go through, you have a map of enemies, and depending on your initiative, you go in a specific order. The enemies go in a specific order as well, and you're intermingled with that. You have different tactics that you can use for ranged and for melee. In addition to that, it's also the standard move combat kind of thing you might be used to in D&D or Pathfinder. But the other thing is when you attack, they have different attributes of strength versus health versus whatever, what you can attack of them.
Okay.
What kind of attack you're doing to them. So that will knock their shield back so that they're vulnerable, or it's something that's better towards someone with armor versus someone that's not with armor. Because of the way you're kind of planning out those things, you could use one guy to come in and hit someone to kind of stagger them, for lack of a better term, and then use your ranged guy who's over here to go ahead and shoot that. So
get the big damage.
Yeah, so it's interesting in that aspect. I thought that was pretty good. The game starts out with a narration, and then the rest of it you're reading. So if you don't like reading, you're gonna have a problem with this. There's a lot of reading, and you're gonna have a bad time. You just have to sit, maybe just keep hitting A so you get through all the dialogue. It does give you dialogue choices, which I think is really cool.
That's cool.
You get dialogue choices, and I don't know how. I didn't get far enough to see any difference. So far, I didn't see any difference as how people were looking at me. It tells you if they like you or don't like what you did. Kind of like Mass Effect. Again, I'm playing a game, and the entire time I'm thinking, man, this makes me want to play Mass Effect. Because Mass Effect, fully voiced, you get to a point where you can make a specific decision, and your companions and everyone will either like what you did or not like what you did. It's fun if that's what you're going for. If you want a old school RPG where you're going to be reading and you are doing turn-based, initiative-based strategy on your against the NPCs, you're gonna like it.
Yeah,
as long as you like that.
Yeah, and that is that style of RPG is something that I do get a kick out of.
Yeah,
and
it's very well done in that aspect. I didn't play Banner Saga, first Banner Saga.
Yeah, Banner Saga 1 is supposed to be coming to Vita, and awesome. I already bought it forever ago because they said it was coming to. You don't even have to put it on Vita. If you say it's coming to Vita, I'll buy it.
Yeah. I wish that they were voiced. The dialogue was voiced for a couple reasons. One is because you're already reading a lot of text. Mm-hmm. I feel it's not a laziness bit to me. When you get into dialogue areas of games like this, that's where I can kind of relax. It's more of a passive moment where I can listen and then interact if I need to. And the act of reading to me is much more active. Yeah. So I have to be actively reading and actively keeping up. I do find it funny though. The other bit I was going to say was what I like about game is when you can hear the dialogue is if I know that this is the dialogue section, I can put the controller down and get a drink of water or whatever. I would maybe eat some of whatever I've got as a snack while I wait to interact. And I did that like I normally do. So I put the controller down and went to the bathroom, came back, and the dialogue is still there because you have to hit the A button to continue, and the person is going.
Awkward silence.
The anime, because these aren't animated characters. It's not like Mass Effect where they're kind of shifting and kind of doing their own thing. It's a still.
Yeah.
It's just a picture of this large woman. And her eyes are moving, and nothing else is moving, and it just looked weird.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, the music.
I liked the music. The music was nice.
Do you know who did the music? Can you guess?
I can guess. I can guess it's your favorite guy.
It's Austin Wintory.
Yeah. It's good. That was one of the aspects of the game that I enjoyed. It fits the mood. And it fits the mood, and it fits the obviously this is fantasy, so it's not time, but the environment that you're in. Mm-hmm. It fits really well. He does a really good job of that to sync it to what you're. It's how I feel a good composer should be playing to the material. Mm-hmm. He's not just creating. Oh, this is a cool theme. I'll throw it in. No.
Yeah.
Make it fit.
And he is the master of that.
He really is,
in my opinion.
Great stuff.
And the last game we have this month is Saints Row 4, Get Out of Hell, on PlayStation 4, which I really enjoyed Saints Row 3. You're more of a 1 and 2 type of guy.
I like what they were doing in 1 and 2, and I wish they'd continue with that direction, because 2, at the time, Saints Row 2, and I'd say Saints Row 1 may have even been better, because they were out when Grand Theft Auto 4 was out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, they were better than Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yeah.
So that's my disappointment in it.
So Get Out of Hell is like it starts you with you're playing an angry Ouija board that I wasn't able to figure out if the Ouija board created the portal or just had access to people that created the portal and sucked you.
Had access.
Anyway, gets you into hell, and my favorite part of, like, the cutscenes are ridiculous, but the part where Johnny shoots the Ouija board and then just holds a gun at it was just one of my favorite things. So he and Kinsey, who was my favorite character from 3, they go into a portal into hell, and they start to figure out how to take over this place and wreck shop. You very quickly get, like, superhero abilities that let you traverse better than the driving, which is good because the driving is shite.
Yeah, and that
it was so bad, and I can swear in British UK.
Yeah, you can.
It was so bad.
That's unfortunate to me. Like I said, I'm maybe a Saints Row purist, but I loved what they did in their first games, and what they're doing now is not. It's not even Saints Row anymore.
Yeah, they've created another thing.
They jumped the shark with another shark, which isn't bad. It's just, why have the driving in there if it's going to suck that bad?
Yeah. So like, mechanics wise, it just kind of feels weird, and it's a fun ride. You're not going to be invested in anything that's happening. But
I would still say this, out of everything else, I would say this is probably the best game that we were offered, in my opinion. And you're going to have fun playing it.
And that's
really what it boils down to.
It kind of goes back to the Fat Princess thing. Like, it's not necessarily a great game, but it is a really fun one.
Yes.
And, like, you're going to be entertained.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's worth your time. So out of those, I'd say that's probably the top.
I haven't finished it yet, but I think I probably will.
Yeah.
Because it's fun and weird.
Yeah. So let us know what you thought of the Games with Gold and the PlayStation Plus offerings. Do you disagree with what we said? Is there something we kind of didn't get? We didn't fully understand? Let us know in the comments.
Indeed. Hit us up on Twitter. Follow us. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Later.